I had lived in Cedar Pines for 3 years, long enough to understand that behind the pretty homes, manicured lawns, and friendly smiles, there was a darkness that lurked in the shape of 3 letters, HOA. When I bought my home, I believed I had found a quiet retreat. A house on the edge of the neighborhood, a long gravel driveway, and at the end, a gate. The gate had been there since the house was built, sturdy and protective, not just against strangers, but against the weight of the world. For me, that gate symbolized peace, especially after years of working 2 jobs, raising my son alone, and fighting to keep life from swallowing us whole. But the HOA didn't see it that way. They saw control. And the fact that my gate wasn't uniform with their cookie-cutter fences and approved shrubbery made me a target. At first, it was letters slipped into my mailbox. Dear resident, your gate is in violation of community standards. Then came the fines. $50. $100. Then more. I tried to reason with them. I explained that the gate wasn't new, it had been grandfathered in with the property. They didn't care. To them, my privacy was rebellion. It got worse when my neighbor, Martin, the self-proclaimed protector of the community, became HOA president. He was the kind of man who lived for rules, who peeked through blinds counting how many inches tall your grass grew. He made it his mission to break me down. One afternoon, while I was unloading groceries, he marched up, clipboard in hand. You'll need to unlock that gate permanently, he ordered. We voted. It blocks accessibility. Accessibility. I repeated, stunned. It's my driveway. It's community property, he snapped, tapping his clipboard like a judge with a gavel. The HOA owns the road, and that means your gate violates our right-of-way. I looked at him, then at the gate that kept my son safe when he played outside, that gave me a moment's rest from a world that always wanted something from me. And something in me hardened. That night, as my son slept, I sat at the kitchen table staring at the pile of threatening letters. I had been through worse in life, losing my husband to illness, nearly losing my home once before. And if there was one thing life had taught me, it was this: I would not be bullied in my own house. I made a decision. If they wanted a war over my gate, they would get one. But I wouldn't fight it their way. I would fight it my way, quietly, patiently, until the very ground they stood on was mine. The HOA prided themselves on owning the road that wound through Cedar Pines. They used it like a weapon, threatening fines for parked cars, issuing tickets for children's bikes left too close to the curb. What they didn't realize, and what I quietly discovered, was that they never owned it at all. One evening, I dug into county records. With each page, my heart pounded harder. The road wasn't maintained by the HOA. It wasn't listed under their property. It was technically unclaimed, privately managed, but not officially theirs. In fact, it was for sale, tucked away in the county's surplus property files. The price wasn't cheap. But I had been saving for years, not for this, but for something bigger, maybe a second chance at life for me and my boy. Now, it felt like fate had placed a weapon in my hands. I signed the paperwork. It took months, but eventually, the deed was mine. The road they used to strut around like kings and queens now belonged to me, a single mom with a stubborn streak and a heart that refused to be trampled. The day I received confirmation, I didn't tell a soul. I waited. I wanted them to demand I open the gate one more time. And they did. At the next HOA meeting, Martin smirked as he waved another letter in my face. This is your final notice. Open your gate permanently, or we'll take legal action. I stood, calm but trembling inside, and handed him a copy of the deed. His smirk faltered. The room fell silent. You see this? I said, my voice steady. This is the road you're talking about. It doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to me. Gasps rippled across the room. Martin's face turned red, his jaw twitching. You can't do that, he stammered. I already did, I replied. So, no. I won't be unlocking my gate. In fact, I'm closing it forever. And from now on, anyone who wants to drive on my road will have to follow my rules. The room erupted, shouts, protests, outrage, but none of it mattered. For the first time in years, I felt free. Word spread fast. Neighbors who once whispered behind my back now came knocking, pleading, bargaining. Some even apologized for siding with the HOA. I wasn't cruel. I didn't block their lives. But I made sure the days of their petty tyranny were over. I installed security, set fair rules, and most importantly, I protected my son and my peace. Standing at my gate one evening, as the sun painted the sky gold, my boy came up beside me. "Does this mean they can't bother us anymore, Mom?" he asked. I smiled, pulling him close. "That's exactly what it means." And with that, I closed the gate, not just on the road behind me, but on the years of fear and control I had endured. Sometimes, life doesn't just give you battles. Sometimes, it gives you the power to win them in ways no one sees coming. Sparkle's ending message for viewers. Never let anyone bully you into silence. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud, it's quiet, patient, and permanent.